Okay, after a successful trip to Italy and back, we noticed we had some sort of, I don't know if it was a grumbling or something on the rear wheel at a certain low revs. So we decided we would change the rear wheel bearing. Can't feel any vibration, can't feel anything. When I pull the clutch in, so I'm isolating the engine from that. The noise was still there, so I thought it can't be a transmission bearing, I'd like to hope, which is, obviously you don't really want that, it's quite terminal. So anyway, 26mm nut, 26mm nut here, take that off, there's a washer there, I've already taken the washer off. This is how I take my rear wheel out, and then slacken, take off the two 10mm bolts here holding the caliper on the caliper mount. And then what I then do is pull the axle out, well, slip the chain off, slide it forward, get the chain completely out of the way, pull the axle out, spindle, and then the wheel will be pulled out the back, and then I can get to the bearings. So let me just do that, because I'm camera manless, and I'll show you the next step. Thank you. So, rear spindle has been pulled through, just enough to hold the rear brake plate there, so that's sitting there. The chain now, you literally just pull it off the rear, and you can either just gently put it there or put a rag there. You can leave the spacer thing here if you want to, it's not going to come to any harm. And then the rear wheel is withdrawn throughout the rear of the bike with a little slight angle. I've just propped the tyre up with that, it's now dropped off, so it's sitting on the floor. So I've got to remove the rear wheel now and onto the next stage. So there we have it, rear wheel is removed now. So like I say, that's just sitting with the axle holding that in place. Reasonably clean, because I had a clean the other day. My chain is sitting there, my rear wheel is here. So it's a spacer that side, the disc side, smaller spacer, and dust seal. And sprocket side, there's a bigger one, bigger spacer. That will have to be pulled off to get to the bearing. So I'm going to put it in the garden, have a look at the bearings. So join me on the next step. So outside now, brake disc side. I've just removed the seal, waterproof seal, and I'm confronted with a circlip. So we need to remove this circlip. I'll try to do that with the camera on at the same time. Maybe not, it's quite a strong circlip. I'm going to have two hands, but you can see what's needed. Remove the circlip. If you look there, upside down, can you see it? Is the bearing number. What is it? A 6304RS. Always put the bearing number facing out so it can be read. Anyway, I'm going to remove my circlip and carry on. Okay, just flipped her over, sprocket side, another seal, pop that off with a screwdriver, sitting that there. And we have another circlip plier. And it's quite funny, I don't think I can see the bearing number on this one. But anyway, I'll remove that now and continue. Okay, I just tapped with a mallet, copper side up, so I didn't damage my rim with the hide side. So just tapped it, kept going around, just to break it free from the cush drives. It should then, yeah, it will come off. Like that one has come off there. So I've got one bearing there, and obviously one bearing the other side. So there's my three bearings, one here, one the other side, and one in the sprocket drive. So they're my three bearings I'm going to change. Okay, bear with me. So with a little bit of heat around the outside here, is it that one? No, it's this one here. This bearing, and what I used is an old spindle, which is on the floor here. So I dropped that through, and basically I dropped it through that way, so you can see that it will fit perfectly on the inner race. If I demonstrate there, like so, or that one there, and then tapped it there and pushed it through. And then this one here is an old, I think it might be old Honda Bros wheel spindle. I used that on that one, and that's how I got the two wheel bearings out. Easy peasy. One I only put heat on, one I didn't, so I can now put the new ones in, and then we'll tear those apart. One feels a little rough, one feels okay, and then we'll do that one there. So I'll just pop these ones in. Obviously pop one on, put the spacer in, don't forget the spacer, you'll be crying, and then pop the other bearing in. So stay with me. Obviously no cameraman. So bit of gentle heat around the webbing here. This bearing literally just slipped straight in, so I'm just now reversing what I'd done earlier, putting the circlip in, and then I'll put the new dust seal in. So I'm sorry I can't film it, but you can see what's happening. Goes in the groove. New dust seal, go on here. Should be a gentle tap, and I don't think anything goes on the inside. Let's focus on it. I don't think anything goes on the inside of there actually, so I'm going to give that a little gentle tap and pop that one in. I'll mostly use the bearing just to tap it in square. Okay, there you go. I didn't even need the bearing to tap it in square. It was still warm and it slipped in. But look at this, guys. Am I being a bit silly here? The metal here, the thickness on this piece here, definitely looks thicker than the metal there. So the metal there and the metal there looks thicker. I was going to measure it, but too late now. But anyway, I'm sure it's all central and it doesn't matter, but it just looks thicker here and thinner there. I wonder if anybody else has seen that on theirs. Anyway, I'm going to flip it over and repeat the process. The bearing's in the other side, and I guess I've just got to do the bearing in the sprocket carrier. So as I said before, I flipped it over now. This is the new bearing in the inside of the wheel, and I've just got to do the bearing on the outside of the sprocket carrier. So let's see what we do with that one. So the wheel's done. Let's have a look at this one. So it looks like there's a tiny little spacer in there. This is from obviously the cush drive side. This is the outside of the bike. So I'm gonna drive it out from the cush drive side with one of my many redundant wheel spindles to this side here. So let's hopefully I will put a little bit of heat on it because it does make the job a lot easier. So bear with me. So a little bit of heat. What you're looking at there is my Honda axle spindle, and I've just driven out the insert inside the bearing there. So that's got to come out. So I thought it'd be best to take that out with the bearings in there, and then I can apply more heat to it and get the bearing out. So onwards and upwards. So with my trusty hide mallet, I used a 36mm socket, which fitted perfectly to knock the bearing through. So I've sit over there. So yeah, perfectly knocked the bearing through. So time for a little clean up, new bearing, circlip and seal, and then I can push it all back together, and then we'll have a little look at the old bearings. So ladies and gentlemen, if you can see it, we have the bearing in, we have the circlip in the groove. All I've got to do now is pop the new seal in, which hopefully, if it's like the last one, because there's a little bit of heat still on the hub, it will just push in with my fingers. So this one needs a little gentle persuasion, so I'm going to put the camera down, yeah, and we'll continue. So outer dust seal now fitted. Inside you've got the spacer fitted here. Yeah, so spins freely, that one spins freely, so it's just a matter of putting the cush drive rubbers in there, slipping that one back in, and the job is done. So I'm going to have a little look at the bearings now to see if I've got a rough one or a rusty one or whatever. Let's have a little look. Well, here's my big one. Not so much grease on that, as you can see it, guys. Let's get in the shade. but it does rotate freely. Yeah, looks like there's a lot of grease missing. But hey, there is a little bit of grease, but bear in mind I did warm it up, so some may have boiled away. So that's the big bearing. And then these are the other two. This is the smaller one of the two, and as you can see it rotates freely, can't feel my movement, and there's lots of grease in there. And this is the slightly bigger one. Yet again it moves freely and there's grease in there. So if I was analysing this, I would say there was nothing wrong with my bearings. Can't feel no play, but after 20, what have we got? 21, 22, 23, 24,000 miles on these. I suppose it's good preventative maintenance. So yeah, I'm glad I've done it, and it was a cheap job, easy to do. Top tips, I would say borrow some spindles, or have some old spindles or some old tube. But the spindles are really good because they're hard and virtually get them the right size, and then you can knock them out, and obviously use the old faithful hot air gun. Hope this helps somebody. Thanks for watching. Somebody did say I should do one changing the bearings, so I have now. That's all. Any questions? Anything I could have done better, easier? Please do leave a comment. Thank you very much. And I'm doing another trip to Spain and Portugal at the end of next month, so that's why I've done it, because I didn't really want the grumbling noise to be on the back of my mind. But I hope I helped somebody. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.